With the 29th pick in the 2016 NFL Draft, the Arizona Cardinals select Robert Nkemdiche, defensive tackle, Ole Miss.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Reese's Roundup. I am your host, the always losing his mind, Lightning Kid himself, and today, the draft, the NFL draft, is finally completed. It is now over, and all 32 teams have made their selections in each round. You know, barring the New England Patriots and a couple other teams that didn't get their draft picks in rounds 2, 3, whatever. But nonetheless, the draft is over, and there have been some really questionable and really great picks in this draft. Now, this draft to me was not, this draft class overall was not, anything exciting. I didn't really see any big names up there. I mean, the first two picks, Jared Goff and Carson Wentz, a D2 player going to the Philadelphia Eagles, and Jared Goff, whose record and stats are nothing to be praised over. So the first two picks are definitely are head scratchers, because the Eagles are not going to. I don't think they're gonna. If they rely too heavily on Carson Wentz, they're not going to make it far into into winning their division. And Jared Goff, in that division, the NFC West, going up against the highly dangerous Seahawks and Cardinals, they're gonna have he's gonna have a tough time. So those two picks right off the bat those guys are definitely head scratchers, but I guess they're the best quarterbacks coming out of the draft, so that should be saying something. Another head scratcher was Joey Bosa going to the Chargers. Now, if anybody knows the Chargers, a couple of years ago they drafted Manti Te'o. Now, Manti Te'o so far his career, he's been more invisible than his girlfriend. He's not been anything too exciting these last couple seasons, and it's proven, because his senior year at Notre Dame, he wasn't really, he did okay, but to go to the Chargers and do nothing, that was saying something. So they went and drafted Joey Bosa. Now, Joey Bosa, he's been balling out at Ohio State for a couple seasons, for a couple years while he was still there, but I don't think that he's going to be that guy that should have been drafted so high up. Joey Bosa is not. He's going to be average, in my opinion. I feel like Joey is going to be an average player, and with the Chargers, I don't think he'll be that breakout star that San Diego is expecting him to be. Now, another big head scratcher is Ezekiel Elliott going to the Cowboys. Now, I am not a big Ezekiel Elliott fan. I think the guy is overrated. I think he's overrated. He's very small. He's built like a slot receiver, not like a running back. So the Cowboys do have a great offensive line. I think that it'll help Ezekiel, but once he breaks out into that secondary, the guy's gonna get murdered. He's a small running back, and they're going to have to trust him really heavily in Dallas, because Tony Romo is a terrible quarterback. So I feel like, no bias here, but I feel like they should have gone Derrick Henry, only because Derrick Henry is built to last longer than Ezekiel Elliott will, and I feel like that's a fact. Because you can say what you want about Alabama running backs. Trent Richardson's been the only bust. T.J. Yeldon, he did okay in Jacksonville, being that it's Jacksonville. Mark Ingram won a championship with the Saints. Eddie Lacy broke out for 1,000 yards his rookie season. He just, gained 1,000 pounds the season after. So it's not that Trent Richardson was just the only bust coming out of Alabama, but everybody else has been somewhat of a success. So Derrick Henry, he should have. I feel like he should have been the better fit for Dallas. But that's just my opinion. Jalen Ramsey going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Now the Jaguars, I'm gonna get back to them, but Jacksonville made some good ass picks in this year's draft. Jalen Ramsey, he comes from Florida State, and I feel like the Jags needed defense, because they weren't doing too bad on offense last season, and A cornerback isn't going to make or break your team, but I feel like with the addition of Jalen Ramsey, they are going to do a whole lot better now that they have that. I wouldn't say, Patrick Peterson type corner, but he'll do okay things for the Jaguars. So you got to give him time to develop. Another good pick, a good pick, was Corey Coleman going to the Cleveland Browns. Now, in my opinion, I feel like Josh Doctson was going to be the best wide receiver coming out of the draft. So with the Cleveland Browns going Corey Coleman, it kind of like scratched my head a little bit. But Corey Coleman is a good pick, especially being that Josh Gordon is not the go-to guy anymore. Now, Josh Gordon's a great player. Don't get me wrong, but he just can't stay on the field because of his marijuana problems. So, going Corey Coleman was a smart move by the Cleveland Browns, especially now that RG3 is going to be out there on the field. He's a much better quarterback than Johnny Manziel and Brian Hoyer, whoever their backup was that season. Now, Josh Doctson going to him. The Washington Redskins, they made a good move because now they have Deshaun Jackson, Pierre Garçon. Pierre Garçon's a great receiver, and now they'll have Josh Doctson coming. He'll probably play the slot because there's no way he's going to start over Deshaun. So with Doctson playing the slot position, those three receivers right there are going to ball out. Now the only problem is Kirk Cousins. Now Kirk Cousins is an inconsistent quarterback. He did okay with the Redskins, leading up to their division win, but he didn't do so well, in the playoffs. Being that it was, albeit his first time, but yeah, I don't feel like Kirk Cousins is going to be the guy that leads your team to a playoff win. That's just my opinion. Another good pick was, this one was a head scratcher. Paxton Lynch going to the Broncos. Now, Paxton Lynch isn't that top name quarterback that especially the Broncos needed. I don't feel like he's going to start over Mark Sanchez, but he will be good competition for Sanchez. Now, what the Broncos should have done was trade for Colin Kaepernick because he would have been a much better. He's a much better quarterback than any of the other three. Between Paxton and Mark Sanchez. Being a Cardinals fan, I know what Colin Kaepernick is capable of. He just had a bad season last season because he had nobody to play with. So if he went to the Broncos, I feel like he would have done a much better job. But being with Paxton Lynch being drafted to the Broncos was definitely a head scratcher, especially thinking that I don't feel like he'll be a starter within the next 2-3 years. He'll probably, unless something happens to Sanchez or Sanchez completely sucks that whole season. But I mean, look at what Peyton Manning did. He didn't do anything that season, and it was their defense that carried them to the Super Bowl and won. So, defense wins championships. Now for the best pick in the entire draft, Robert Nkemdiche. No, I'm kidding. No, but the Cardinals drafted Robert Nkemdiche. Now, in my opinion, I feel like the Cardinals should have gone cornerback first round, but Bruce Arians, Steve Keim, they're smart people, so they went defensive tackle. Now, I don't know anything about this Nkemdiche guy, but I do know that he's a fast pass rusher, and I don't know. I just feel like the Cardinals didn't really need a pass rusher, being that we have Chandler Jones and Dion Buchanan and God, who else do we have? Jeez, I don't even remember. I can't think off the top of my head. But the Cardinals have a great linebacking core, and I feel like we didn't need to go. And a good front line. Calais Campbell, Frosty Rucker. I don't feel like Nkemdiche would be the guy that starts at defensive tackle. But I do trust that we made a good pick, so I'm not gonna complain too much about it. But we'll see when the time comes. Now that was all the first round. In round two, the only big draft pickup was the Tennessee Titans getting Derrick Henry. Now keep in mind, Derrick Henry. The Tennessee Titans have DeMarco Murray. DeMarco Murray was balling out for the Cowboys a couple seasons ago, but he didn't really do too well with the Philadelphia Eagles. So, getting Derrick Henry was a good move by the Titans, only because I feel like Derrick Henry was the best running back coming out of this draft class. And he'll be a good 1-2 combo with DeMarco Murray coming in and out. So I feel like that was a smart move by the Titans. Another kind of head scratcher was Braxton Miller going to the Texans. Now Braxton started at Ohio State as a quarterback, but he switched over to wide receiver. So the Texans drafted him as a receiver, but something tells me that they will put him back at quarterback because they don't need a receiver with DeAndre Hopkins and whoever the other guy is. The other guy is pretty good though. Don't get me wrong. I don't know who the other dude is. Damn, I should have been writing some stuff down. But no, Braxton. I don't think Braxton Miller will start at receiver, so I do feel like they will use him as quarterback every now and again. So we'll see. Especially with Brock Osweiler, where nobody knows what he's gonna do. Another good pickup was Myles Jack. Now everybody, I don't know anything about Myles Jack, but I do know that everybody was praising that he's a good linebacker, but he was injury prone. So Jacksonville did take a risk by picking him up, but we'll see when the time comes. Now Jacksonville did have the best draft picks in this draft. They went Jalen Ramsey, Myles Jack. They do have a good team. They just need better players, and it all started with their defense. And they did pick up some great defensive players. So watch out for Jacksonville in the upcoming season. And the last okay pickup was Dak Prescott going to the Cowboys. Now Dak is he's just a run and gun player. He runs a lot. He uses his feet first. He doesn't really make good passes. So Tony Romo being his understudy isn't going to help him out too well, being that Tony Romo isn't a great quarterback himself. So I don't know about Dak Prescott. I feel like he'll just be a trade guy in the upcoming future. I don't feel like he'll get his reps as a second string or third string. But that pretty much covers the NFL draft. If your team made a good move, let me know in the comments. I just feel like these were like the notable draft picks in the draft that everybody was so concerned about where they would go. Somebody I didn't write down was Cardale Jones going to the Buffalo Bills, but I feel like he's overrated, so I didn't talk about him much. I didn't want to talk about him much. But yeah, that's gonna do it for today's video, guys. Let me know what you want to see next week. Let me know if your team made a good draft pick. 7 rounds. I feel like the Cardinals made some good moves. We went corner, center, tackle, defensive tackle, another corner, safety. So I feel like we pretty much got what we wanted. So we'll see what happens in the future. Only time will tell now. So that's gonna do it for today, guys. Give this video a thumbs up if you want to. I'll see you guys next week. Peace out. Go Cardinals.